Section I, Placement Appeal. This video will cover what is a Section I placement appeal, mediation, appeal criteria including the appeal form, appeal timeline. The Special Educational Needs and Disability Tribunal is an independent national tribunal which hears parents and young people's appeals against local authority decisions about the special educational needs of children and young people. It is a free service. If you are unhappy with the setting named in your child's final EHCP following an EHC needs assessment or a review, you can appeal to the SEND Tribunal if it is a maintained school or nursery, mainstream or specialist, an academy, mainstream or specialist, an institution in the further education sector, a non-maintained special school, and a Section 41 school. If your choice of school or setting has not been named within Section I of the EHCP, and it was refused because the setting is unsuitable for the age, ability, aptitude, or special educational needs of the child or young person, or the attendance of the child or young person would be incompatible with the provision of efficient education for others, or the attendance of the child or young person would be incompatible with the efficient use of resources. If requesting an independent school, the local authority should consider the request as part of their duty to consider the young person's views, wishes and feelings. Evidence is required to explain why the setting is the only one that can meet the young person's needs, and if you are unable to evidence it, the local authority is under no obligation to look at independent provision. Additionally, there must be an offer of a place from the independent setting, as the local authority cannot order an independent school to accept a young person. Right to mainstream. The local authority can only refuse if a mainstream placement would be incompatible with the efficient education of others, and there are no reasonable steps the local authority could take to avoid this. The degree or complexity of their needs or disabilities and the suitability of mainstream is not a reason in law for a refusal of mainstream. This is an important right. It is important to note, however, that this is a right to mainstream education, but not necessarily a right to a particular mainstream school. Contents appeal. In most cases, it will be important to appeal against Section B and F of your child's amended EHC plan, as well as Section I. This is known as a contents appeal. This is because the school named in Section I of a plan should be a logical conclusion to what Sections B and F say. Section B of a plan should fully describe your child's difficulties and needs, and Section F should specify the provision they need. For more information on contents appeal, please see our contents appeal video. Considering mediation means having your rights and the mediation process explained to you by an independent mediation advisor. In Leeds, this service is provided by Collis Mediation Limited. Mediation next steps. You have 2 months from receiving the decision letter from the local authority to contact Collis Mediation Limited. If you wish to consider mediation and would like more information, please see our Mediations Before Appeals video. Appeal criteria. You can lodge an appeal if you have received a final plan from the local authority, the young person is aged 0 to 24, you are the parent or have care of the young person, or you have been asked to act on behalf of someone who has parental responsibility for the young person aged 0 to 15 or by the young person aged 16 to 24. It is less than 2 months from the date on your decision letter. If you plan to appeal against the contents of the plan, you will also need a copy of the mediation certificate. To register your appeal, you will need to complete the SEND 35 form. The Tribunal have produced a guide called How to Appeal, and we have an information video on how to complete the form. Some essential attachments are required. Remember to include with your form your decision letter from the local authority. This is the letter that you received from SENSAP. The mediation certificate if you are doing a content and section I appeal. A copy of the final EHCP. Your evidence that supports the appeal. Any evidence that you have, such as information received from the school, breakdown of costs, transport costs, etc. Submitting your appeal form. Email send@hmcts.gsi.gov.uk. Address HM Courts and Tribunal Service, Special Educational Needs and Disability Tribunal, First Floor, Darlington Magistrates Court, Parkgate, Darlington, DL1 1RU. Inquiries 01325 289 350. What happens next? When your application is received as part of a bundle of documents, you will be given a date for an oral hearing to be held and the venue. Although hearings are a legal process, they are designed to be as informal as possible. The hearing is used to discuss all of the evidence submitted and to make a ruling on what they feel should be named in the final EHCP. The Tribunal has produced a set of 6 YouTube videos that contain more information about the SEND Tribunal process. Appeal timeline. SEND appeals usually take up to 12 weeks to get a decision. However, this is extended at the moment due to a high volume of appeals being received. Appeal received and registered within 20 working days. An acknowledgement letter and bundle are sent out. Copy is sent to the local authority. They have 30 working days to respond or settle. Hearing decision sent within 10 working days. Further SEND information and advice on a wide range of topics is available on our website. Visit www.leadsendias.co.uk. On social media, search Lead Sendias. Other sources of information, advice and support about mediation and SEND tribunals include Contact for Families with Disabled Children, www.contact.org.uk, Independent Provider of Special Educational Advice, www.ipsi.org.uk, SOS SEN, www.sossen.org.uk, Government Information and Services website www.gov.uk, Collis Mediation Limited www.collismediationlimited.com. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it was helpful. Other videos in this series include completing the SEND 35 appeal form or mediation before appeals.